And joining me now is the president of the Sentinel Action Fund and executive director of Heritage Action for America, Jessica Anderson. Jessica, the best time of the week. Always great to see you.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, what is the Democrats' closing argument exactly? I mean, take your time. I've got all day. I get paid by the hour. Take your time.
You know, it's so funny, David, or maybe it's just sad, but the fact that they actually can't talk about the economy just shows how out of touch the Democratic left has become with the needs of the American people. In a lot of ways, they actually thrive over a depressed economy because that puts more reliance of the American people on government, which, as we know, is the left's goal to have more dependency on government for all of our social services, our way of life, our education. And so it's not a surprise that he can't run and actually talk about it because he has nothing good to say, because he really does thrive. Democrats really do thrive for a state as depressed as it is right now when it comes to our economy. So the speech was a disaster. It was such a disappointment yet again, but it's kind of business as usual from the left, as we'll see. And I think voters know that heading into the polls in less than a week.
For sure. All right, time to geek out now. I want to talk about the U.S. House. I know it's like we have to have a bobblehead animated figure of like you and me kind of like geeking out. All right, U.S. House. I want to get your lay of the land. What are some key races that will tell us a lot on election night? Let me just show you one at least that kind of caught my eye. Rhode Island is fascinating to me. It's in the Providence area, Rhode Island 2. The Republican Alan Fung in a toss-up race in a very reliable plus 14 Dem district, or at least it went plus 14 for Biden back in 2020. What is going on there? And I'm just kind of curious about some of those big races that we should keep an eye on that in the evening.
The makeup of the House is going to change significantly after November 8th. I think we could be anywhere of upwards of 25 to 35 seats that flip from blue to red that night. And the fact that you've got seats like the seat in Rhode Island, similar House seats in Connecticut that Biden won between 10 and 15 percentage points last time, actually being in contention shows just how deep this red wave, this red tsunami has the potential to be. I'd also point your attention out to the Cassie Garcia race in Texas on the southern border. She's running against Democrat Henry Cuellar, who has tried to pass him off as a moderate, but the truth is he votes in lockstep with Biden and Pelosi every chance that he gets. She's an up-and-comer, big chance to flip that seat. Also look at the Anna Paula race in Florida. This is the seat that was abandoned by Charlie Crist when he's tried to go after Governor Ron DeSantis. This seat has traditionally gone blue, has the big potential to flip red. I'm watching that seat. I'm also watching a couple seats in Virginia. You know, you've got the after effect of Governor Youngkin and the movement of the parental rights movement in the Commonwealth of Virginia. How does that impact the Spanberger seat? That's often been a seat that Republicans have had their eyes on flipping. I'm watching that one. And then the last one, I look at some of these Rust Belt seats. The Marcy Kaptur seat in particular in Ohio, this has the potential to flip. The Republican candidate that's running there is pointing out Kaptur's record, how she's in lockstep with Biden and Pelosi, doing nothing to help the state of Ohio. So seats like this that might not be top of mind could be part of this big red wave. And we're going to be waking up, I think, November 9th and November 10th as the dust settles across the country with upwards of 25 brand new House members and welcoming them to Congress to go about getting the work done for the American people.
Yeah, and 25 to 35 could potentially turn into maybe even close to 50 if things go really, really well. But that means Oregon and New York, right? I mean, they've got Washington State District, Congressional District 3 out there. Yeah, that's got to go well. All right, let's turn to the Senate real quick. Dr. Oz, the latest headline, now taking his first outright lead over John Fetterman. Of course, after that disastrous debate performance last week. Your thoughts here in Pennsylvania?
Well, it's about time. Voters saw firsthand exactly how dangerous Fetterman would be to the state of Pennsylvania. The debate was incredibly discouraging. Fetterman couldn't put a sentence together to actually articulate a vision to turn around crime or economic security in the state. And so I think you saw Pennsylvania voters come face to face with the reality that their choice really must be with Dr. Oz, who's been on the road every single day campaigning about what is needed to turn the country around. He is a MAGA candidate. He understands how to put America first, and he's willing to fight for Pennsylvania voters. I think Pennsylvania is just one of many states that are actually closing on the Senate side. Same could be said about Blake Masters in Arizona, General Don Bolduc in New Hampshire as well. Really three significantly important Senate races for the makeup of the majority.
Let me ask you about another Senate race that has fascinated me, what's going on in Oregon. I mean, excuse me, Oregon, Washington State, excuse me, Patty Murray. Can Tiffany Smiley actually beat Patty Murray out there? She's been in the Senate for like ever since Reconstruction. I mean, how is that? What's happening out there in the Great Northwest?
Yeah, Patty Murray's been in the Senate for over 3 decades. And so if there was ever a time to unseat her, it's going to be on November 8th. Tiffany Smiley has ran an incredible race in Washington. She connects so well with the grassroots in the state. I've had the privilege of meeting her, talking to her, seeing her on the campaign trail. She is the real deal. And she is in complete contrast to Patty Murray, who is completely entrenched with the Democratic Party. So if there was ever a night for a flip, this is going to be that night. I don't think this is the last we're going to see or hear from Tiffany Smiley. And if the GOP has as big of a night as all of us want and are hoping and working towards, this seat has the potential to flip. The big thing I would just note about Washington to remember is that Washington state votes by mail. And so the counting of the mail-in ballots and the timing of that, we may go to sleep on November 8th and not actually know those results until we wake up the next day. Or, pull an all-nighter, and I'm sure we can watch you and follow along with the analysis through the evening.
Oh, great. Pull an all-nighter. Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started. I got 30 seconds. Colorado, I mean, Bennett, he should win, but O'Day's a good candidate out there. I mean, if everything goes well for Republicans, they could get 55 seats in the Senate. I'm talking about they would have to win Oregon and Colorado. I mean, but I got 20 seconds.
O'Day's given Bennett a run for his money. That's super significant. Look, the whole point of a wave year is to expand the map. That's why conservatives have dug in so much for New Hampshire, for Arizona, for Nevada, to make these races flippable. And I think we're going to do that on the night of November 8th.
Jessica Anderson, great to have you. The fact that you're actually coherent and alive and, just can put 3 sentences together, which is more than Biden because you're traveling so much. Thank you so much. I don't know how much sleep you're getting, but I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.